This episode of Fermented Adventure the Podcast features Johathan Williams of Alcohol Infused Cigars. They are producing wonderful cigars that are full of flavor. What started out as a hobby has become a thriving family business. Be sure to reach out to Johathan and Alcohol Infused Cigars and let them know what you thought about the podcast. Cheers! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, craft spirit enthusiasts, and those interested in the intoxicating world of craft distilleries, cideries, meaderies, wineries, and the occasional foray into breweries. It's Rich Shane, and welcome to Fermented Adventure, the podcast, where we bring you the fascinating people that are making the mash, fermenting, distilling, bottling, pouring, and delivering to you some of the finest libations in the world. Before we get started, here are a few housekeeping items. Thank you for bringing the podcast into wherever you are and whatever you're doing. We truly are grateful that you have chosen to listen and make us part of your day. It would mean the world to us if you left a 5-star review. This helps us climb in the rankings, and it makes it easier for others to find us. Don't hesitate to leave us your comments as well. If the podcast didn't meet your expectations, tell us why. We're always striving to improve. You can find us at fermentedadventure.com. We are on Instagram and Facebook as Fermented Adventure. Email us at fermentedadventure@gmail.com. All right, FA Nation, let's meet our guest. He's Johathan Williams. I'm Rich Shane. This is Fermented Adventure, the podcast. Johathan, welcome to the podcast.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Look, we get to talk cigars here today. We get to talk alcohol-infused cigars, which is your company. How did all that get started for you?
So actually, my father started this company. He was a banker, and when he got laid off, he was looking to find a different branch. He didn't want to work for anybody else. So something that turned into a hobby ended up becoming his profession, and this is something he dabbled in, heard about the concept, got deeper into it, and then we're here now, about 11 years later.
Why cigars? Was that something he smoked or had an interest in?
Yeah, like I said, it was a hobby, something he had like a slight interest in, and then he heard the concept, and then just he went with it.
All right, so these alcohol infused cigars, what was it? And I guess the question is, where did Dad have the idea to kind of combine the two? I know you said it was out there, but it's an idea. But then how do you take it from the idea to what you have today?
Always trial and error for starters. So I don't know what compelled him to, hey, let's combine the two, or like other people are doing it. Let's see what I could do with it. I don't know what fully compelled him to do that, but when he did it, it took some time to, figure out how we want to, what wrappers we want to use, what tobacco we want to use, how to do the infusion process. But then after a while, we got better at it. He got better at it. And then this is where we are now. Like I said, I don't really know why he decided this. It was out of the blue for me when he started. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Didn't know that was a thing.
What was the first flavor that Dad infused or you guys infused?
I want to say it was a rum. Yeah, we probably started out with the rum, and then just multiple different types of rums. Like, for example, we sometimes we'll like a Captain.
Talk about the other flavors and the expressions that you have.
So we use the base flavors when we do shows. We do we do rum, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, and a cognac. So the flavors we choose is based on maybe the location or what people are demanding. So we go based on that. So we don't really have a set flavor. We'll just go with what you guys want.
Well, we've met a number of times at the Eat,
Correct.
Drink, and Relax, the big shows that they do. And the most recent one was the Oktoberfest down in Timonium at the Maryland Fairgrounds. Talk about your experience with these shows and, being a unique vendor and, how that all plays into the event.
I enjoy these events. I get to be around drunk people every weekend. It's always fun. But
hey, yeah, me too.
Yeah, going all up and down the East Coast, traveling. I enjoy doing these types of things and get to meet a lot of great people like yourself. And as far as being a unique vendor, it's pretty cool, because a lot of people they come up, they're like, I never heard of this. I didn't know you can do such a thing. I always get the question, can you get drunk? But like, so I had to go through and explain everything. So it's like it's a fun thing. It's like a little education process at the same time because I get to tell everybody and then put them onto this new experience, and then we get to branch out even more.
Talk about some of those trial and error, those hits and misses, the process of really honing in and dialing into these. These are fun. These are flavorful. And it says rum, and you get rum. It says cognac, you get cognac. And talk about the process of making these and those hits and misses and things that have worked or haven't worked.
So I wasn't really involved too much in the earlier days, but I do know stuff like, for example, we tried different types of wraps. Like, for example, Connecticut wrap is a very popular wrap. I get that a lot where people are like, why aren't you using the Connecticut? Why didn't you choose a Connecticut? But we felt that it didn't really match well with the flavor. It didn't really pair well with the alcohols, which is how we ended up with the Ecuadorian wrap. And I feel like that has worked better, and that's what we've been using for years. So that's part of the trials. And also the sizes. We've tried the big Churchill sizes. Sometimes people are into that, but some people just like the little smaller ones. Some want the cigarello sizes, which we don't even do. So I think the size we use, 6x45, is a perfect size. So I think that's a part of the trial and error as well. Just figuring out the perfect cigar.
Were you into cigar smoking before Dad kind of started this business?
No, not really. I was just around it. Yeah.
Were there flavors that you've tried that haven't hit the mark?
For me, I'm very occasional, but for me, I'm not really into Scotch because I'm not a Scotch drinker. So it's also about what are you into? What type of alcohols do you drink? So I feel like that also helps the, picking and choosing a flavor. But you'll be surprised because some people go oh, I don't even like Scotch, but I love this cigar. So I think it's all about what you like, the flavor. But that's not one of my favorites for me personally.
Are there some stories from some of these shows that you can share? When you're packing up or heading back in your vehicle, and just maybe some feedback or somebody that kind of shares that they loved what you're offering.
As far as stories, I'm doing with drunks every weekend, so I get a lot of things. I hear a lot of inappropriate jokes. It's fun. It's all fun. I've had some people see me in the parking lot and can I still buy cigars? I'm like, sure. So I'm just giving them cigars out of the back of my car and stuff. Been plenty of times where people come up and they're like, we've had your cigars years ago. We for example, we lost your card. We're so glad to see you here. Now we can get more. We've been wanting more. I've been telling all my friends about it. We all had it. So that's always good to hear when people come back and reconnect with us. And then right at the event, if it's an outdoor event and you're allowed to smoke, seeing people's reaction for the first time, they're like, oh, wow, you can really taste the flavor. Because, you don't really expect much of it if you never had a flavor cigar. So you don't really know what to get. And then when you're actually seeing it in real time, people's reaction, instead of them walking away and going to smoke it, they're like, wow, this is really amazing. You really taste the flavor. It's great. And also people come back, they'll just try one because they're not sure. They don't want to, invest into buying something that they may not like. So they try it out, come back, they're like, I want one of each. I want them all. I want more. So yeah, that's always good to see.
Pardon the interruption. Thank you so much for listening to Fermented Adventure, the podcast. Could you do us a favor? Hit that follow button. It makes it easier for others to find us, and it helps us climb in the rankings. Take a screenshot of the podcast, post it, tag us, and let everyone know that you listen to the Fermented Adventure podcast. Now, back to our podcast. I think from my experience and the people I've interacted at the booth when you've been at some of these shows is that initially I think that they think it's a gimmick. And then I think what really rings true is after they smoke them, they find that it's a quality cigar. And what you're doing with the infusion, you're really elevating or complementing the tobacco in the cigar. So it's not just, hey, we're just showing up. We thought we'd, roll out some of these cigars and isn't this fun? This is actually a really nice cigar, where you
Thank you.
complement with the different infusions that you utilize.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's why I try to explain to people in the beginning, because like you said, people may think it's a gimmick, or it's also people, they see the alcohol part, so they assume that you get drunk off of this. So I go through the whole process with everybody. I'm like, I explain it as much as I can to everybody, and then they roll with it once they get one.
You don't want to give away the family secrets, do you?
I can't give too much. I can't give too much. I can only tell you just enough to give you a general idea. But after that, it's like, hey, it's out of my hands.
Do you have companies reaching out to you to do proprietary blends or proprietary cigars for them?
So we try to reach out to like other like different like distilleries or stuff. Or sometimes people try to work with us, because we do a lot of these events, and a lot of these events have different places selling alcohol and stuff. So we try to pair out with people, maybe send them like a barrel of their cigars, like or the flavor of their alcohol to them. So yeah, we try, or even with our cigar club, we have a cigar club where we have 4 different flavors each month and one house flavor with 4 flavors. Sometimes we incorporate other people that have contacted us or we've like got into contact with. So yeah, we incorporate some people.
Talk more about the cigar club. Do you ship out of where you're from, or do people come to you and you all smoke as a club?
Oh, so we ship it. Yeah. So our main thing besides doing festivals is shipping. So yeah, we ship out to everybody. It's about, like I said, 5 cigars. I believe it's $34.99 a month. And we ship them out at the end of the month, like the last week of the month, we ship them out. And it's 4 unique flavors, stuff that we don't bring out to the festivals. And then one of the house flavors, which is like one of the festival cigars.
People can go online if they want to find you. What's your web address?
Alcoholinfusedcigars.com. One word.
What about on what about on those socials?
Social medias, it's Alcohol Infused Cigars or Guy and Lady Barrel, all one word.
Now, the holidays are coming, so these make great not only stocking stuffers or put them in a box, give them to your boss, your friends, share them with everybody. These are really nice. And again, what I would say is you're not even if you're a cigar aficionado, I think that you would enjoy this because it's not a gimmick. It's a real nice cigar. And you've created this method to infuse the alcohol and it doesn't get lost. And I think it smokes all the way through as well, which is something else that's important because sometimes you'll smoke these and you get that in the beginning and then it's just like it washes out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, the holidays are coming up and of course we're gonna do our Black Friday sales or Christmas sales, and they are perfect stocking stuffers. A lot of people have already started buying for the holidays. Like now doing these later events, that's like everyone's like end goal, right?
So you talk about some of these shows. We're recording this on November 6th. Talk about, are there any shows, larger places where people can find you in the next month or so if they want to see you in action in person?
We're still like trying to figure out because December is kind of slow. So we're trying to, do little pop-ups here and there, and some holiday shows. We could find some. So yeah, we're still in the process of trying to figure out because December is kind of a slow month for us. So is January, and then it picks back up in February.
So if people want to find out these shows, they can go to your social media or on your website. And maybe you'll have them posted there, right?
Yes.
Johathan, is there anything we haven't talked about? Anything else you want to share about alcohol-infused cigars or more about yourself?
I don't know. Actually, I would like to hear more about your experience with the cigar.
So you're going to turn the tables on fermented adventure.
Yeah. Turn the tables.
No, what I can share is that the most recent one I had, and it was one of the rum cigars.
Okay.
And we were at the Maryland Fairgrounds, the Das Oktoberfest, and again, it's a perfect complement to the event. And I think that's the other thing that is wonderful for us because it's so much going on. And I think that when people see you, they expect to see you. And it's almost like seeing a friend. And that's where that cigar comes and plays in for me. It's the enjoyment of this is part of the whole experience. This is part of, all right, I'm going to go taste a beer and I got the cigar. And then I'm going to go, find another favorite that I had, or there are whiskey vendors, or there was a new vodka vendor there that we had not had before. And the other part about it is, with that rum, we try to find the cigar. We try to find, in our head, it's funny because we think, what would we pair this with? What beer or what other substance, alcohol, product, what would we pair this with? And that's where the other part becomes fun. But to me, it's also just sitting down. There was live music, relaxing, watching the people, enjoying the cigar, and just making, again, you make that event, you being there is part of the atmosphere of the event.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you. Look, you guys do all the hard work, right? I mean, you soak the cigars, you infuse them, you put them in the barrels, you stick them in your vehicle, you tote them around. I mean, all I do is I say, hey, I want this one, and this one.
Yeah.
And then, we take them, we have them we do a fire pit, or just, when we go to other, places we can smoke outside. It's just a really nice thing. And the funny part is, I think the other thing is that, other people go, what is that? What are you smoking? And, we're able to share that with other people and say, alcohol infused cigars, and, pick some up for yourself.
For sure. I noticed you said a word, which is the word soaked, and I want to elaborate a little bit more on that. So
good.
What I can say is, with our infusion process, it's really an infusion process. So we don't dip or soak the cigars, because when you do that, a lot of people, sometimes they smoke a cigar, they have their drinks, they just dip it and stuff like that, which is it's fun. But when you do that, you have to enjoy the cigar right then and there. Otherwise, once that alcohol dries up, it dries up the whole cigar. So ours it's literally an infusion. So after the cigar is rolled, it's like the cigar and alcohol being cooked with each other, and that's how the flavor gets in. So just to give you a little bit more of a context, it's kind of like think of a smoking of a meats ordeal, like the cigar and alcohol being cooked with each other, and that's how we get the flavor. So yeah, not a soaking, but an infusion.
I am so glad I said that, and so glad you had the opportunity to make that correction, because I think it gives the listener a little more insight to the process and how special these really are.
Yeah, because when you hear soaking, you're just like, well, I could just do that myself. And it's like, oh, we're a little different.
Look, you mentioned smoking, right? And there are thousands of barbecue chefs. There are thousands, but each one, when they bring to that competition, that brisket may be different.
Mm-hmm.
That pork may be different. It could be the wood, it could be the seasoning, it could be everything that goes into how you treat that meat. It's the same thing with your cigar. It's unique, and it's how you take care of that tobacco and how you go about infusing that flavor into that cigar.
Exactly.
So, often imitated, never duplicated. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, let me ask you something, Johathan. What motivates you? What gets you out of bed every morning?
What gets me out of bed out of the morning? Just life in general. I enjoy being around the people I love, get to do the things I love doing. And, that's what motivates me, I don't know. I'm a simple guy.
I asked that because you've got this vibrant, happy personality, and if people could see it on the podcast, because this is audio, but you've got this wonderful, infectious smile, and
thank you.
And I think it radiates joy. I think it radiates gratitude. And I remember the first time we met you. You had to shut down because of some legal logistical.
Oh, yes.
Let's not say where we were, but it's rhymes with Philadelphia, and and they didn't care for your, I don't know what the heck that was, but even so, you had everything set up, but you still had this positivity to it, and it's every time I've met you, I'm like, that's the guy. He's loving life, and we all have our stuff. And I guess when you're out and you get to meet people and everybody's happy and joyful, but you bring that too. And you mentioned Lady Barrel. So there's a partner to all this that goes on too, isn't there?
My mother. Yes.
and she's always, she's always been gracious and happy, and she'll point out some different variations, or you should try this one. And again, I think you bring just that level of quality, that level of experience, and you're going to give those, that try it, just that wonderful time. So that's amazing.
I appreciate that. I actually want to say a little side note because you said something about me having an infectious smile. Believe it or not, there's a time period in my life where I did not smile ever. I just always had a straight face, always a serious face. So when I actually started, like when I got older and I actually started smiling, sometimes like people be like, "You smile?" Or even my mom was like, "You practice your smiles?" Like, what do you mean? It's like you spent all these years never smiling. Now all of a sudden you're smiling. Do you sit there and practice? I'm like, no, I guess I just know how to smile.
You can tell them you were just saving it up for now. You just,
I was waiting for the right times. No,
that's right. That's right. That is so cool. That's so much fun. I mean, this is, again, get to know the people. Talk to the people that are doing all this stuff, because there's a story. You have a story to share. And when you connect with the story, smoking that cigar makes it even better. It really does.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I love doing this because without this, there's a lot of states I would have never traveled to. There's a lot of towns I would have never traveled to, and I think that's really fun part of the experience and meeting all these people. And I'm a people person. I can talk to anybody. I've talked about anything, so it's fun doing all this.
Well, we're grateful for your time today, Johathan. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you again, and maybe some new flavors. Look into that. Look into the club, right? And see what else these special flavors that are coming out on a monthly basis. Oh, you're holding it up too. Cool.
Yep, this is how we package them. Like I said, 4 unique flavors and 1 house flavor, and $34.99 a month, 5 cigars.
Well, thank you so much for being a friend of Fermented Adventure. We look forward to seeing you at that next show, and I just can't wait to see your smile again.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me here. Look forward to seeing you again. We're going to be doing a lot next year, so.
Cool. I can't wait. Thanks, Johathan.
Thank you so much.